Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, December 25th, 2024. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we got another good lineup for you guys. I think we have 9 first appearances, 2 honorable mentions, so 11 titles in all to go through. There's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week, weekending December 27th, 2024. First up from DC Comics, Absolute Wonder Woman number 3. This features the first team appearance of the Tetracide. This also introduces Barbara Minerva, aka the Cheetah. Now, like we mention almost every week with this Absolute series from DC Comics, these are books you definitely want to pick up for your collection. This issue features the first team appearance of the Tetracide. Don't really know how important that's going to be in the future, but what we do know is this Absolute series from DC Comics. These books, super hot. The market's already decided that they like them. Fans and collectors are definitely picking these books up to hold long term, so you don't want to miss out on these at the cover price. Like we mention every week, issues number 1, 2, and 3 of the Absolute Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman have all gone back for reprints already. So this series, super hot. You don't want to miss out on these. Definitely pick this up for your collection. Next up from DC Comics, Batman Gargoyle of Gotham number 3. This features the first full appearance of Dr. Geist. Also the first appearance of a character described as Little Joker, an ally of Crytoon. Now, like we always mention with the DC Comics, it really depends on what DC does with these characters they're introducing as to how important these issues are going to be and how important these particular titles are going to be in the future. You know, this Batman Gargoyle of Gotham series, this is definitely a B series or subset series that DC is producing. This is not one of their tentpole or mainstay title series, such as Batman or Detective Comics. So the fact they're introducing these characters into this subset title series, these are definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up. But you know, if they do bring these characters across other title series into the DCU proper, then these characters will definitely have a little bit more staying power and be more important in the future. So these are new characters they're introducing into Batman universe, so you do want to consider that. But like I said, definitely speculative. Grab this here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from DC Comics, Detective Comics number 1092. This features the first full appearance of Asima, a vigilante who kills small-time criminals. Now, the Detective Comics title series, this is one of DC's tentpole or mainstay title series, so anytime they introduce a new character into this particular title series, these are going to be a little bit more important than some of the subset series. This issue does feature the first full appearance of Asima. We don't really know how important this character is going to be in the future, but like I said, they are introducing it into one of the mainstay or tentpole title series, so this one here definitely deserves some consideration. Grab this here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from DC Comics, Metamorpho the Element Man number 1. This features the first appearance of Mr. 3, an agent of Cyclops. Now the Metamorpho title series, this one here is definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up. This here is the premiere issue of this series. You know, but the character Metamorpho, this character hasn't been readdressed in many years. We don't really know if there's a big fan base or collector base out there for this particular character or this title series. So this one here, definitely speculative. They are featuring the first appearance of a new character in this issue. But like I said, the series itself, at this point, pretty speculative. Grab it for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list. Take a look at it later on. Next up from Marvel Comics, Blade Red Band number 3. This features the first appearance of Pontius Van Helsing, a monster hunter. Now, Blade, the character, and the series have seen a little resurgence lately, but definitely not one of Marvel's stronger or more heavily collected series or characters. So the fact they're introducing this new character, Pontius Van Helsing, into this particular series, this one here will be a little more speculative than some of the other Marvel titles. We generally always recommend picking up the first appearance of a new character in Marvel titles, you know, because Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of media for the small screen, big screen, and you don't want to miss out on these characters for $3 or $4. That being said, though, like I said, Blade, not necessarily one of the most heavily collected titles for Marvel Comics. This will be a little more speculative. Grab this here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Marvel Comics, Hell Hunters number 1. This features the first appearance of Felix Bruckner. This also features the origin of Ghost Rider 44. This issue is also the premiere issue of this new Hell Hunters title series. Now, Felix Bruckner, we really don't know how important that character is going to be in the future, but like I just mentioned a moment ago, with Marvel Disney, always a good idea to pick up the first appearance of new characters in these Marvel titles. You know, they're still churning out a ton of media, and if one of these characters hits a screen, sends collectors racing back to the secondary market to find these first appearances, you don't want to have missed out at the cover price. So once again, probably worth a spec. Grab this here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Marvel Comics, Kidpool Spider-Boy number 1. This features the first appearance of Kidpool, the movie version of the character. Now this is one we do think you should definitely pick up for your collection. We always recommend picking up the first appearance of new characters in Spider-Man titles and the Spider-Boy title series. Very popular with fans and collectors. And the fact they're introducing this Kidpool, this is the movie version of this character. Kidpool and Spider-Boy together, this is one you don't want to miss out on. You know, for the cover price, definitely worth picking this up. So grab this in here for your collection. Next up from Marvel Comics, Moonlight Fist of Khonshu number 3. This features the first appearance of a new member or new members of the Midnight Mission. Now the Moon Knight franchise, or the Moon Knight character, this definitely got a big surge in popularity during the Disney Plus streaming series. But you know, after that series ended, interest has definitely faded away a little bit. Moon Knight has always been somewhat of a B character for Marvel Comics, not necessarily one of their stronger, more heavily collected characters. And this particular title, this Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu series, this is definitely a spin-off or an offshoot of the main Moon Knight title series. So the fact that they're introducing new characters into the spin-off series, if these characters go nowhere, they stay in the spin-off Fist of Khonshu title, then these characters probably won't go anywhere. If they do make these characters important, bring them across the proper MCU, then they'll definitely have a lot more importance. Once again, probably worth picking up for the cover price. You don't want to chase these down years later for a lot more money. So grab this in here if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list, take a look at it later on. And finally from Marvel Comics, Star Wars Battle of Jaku Last Stand number 1. This features the first appearance of a new ally of Luke Skywalker. Now this here is the final series in a trilogy of titles that will conclude the Empire Strikes Back phase. Now we always recommend picking up the first appearance of new characters in these Marvel published Star Wars titles, and this Battle of Jakku series, this has been very popular with fans and collectors. You know, Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of Star Wars media, whether it's for the small screen or big screen. You definitely don't want to miss out on these first appearances in the comics. If they hit the screen, collectors are going to race back to the secondary market, drive the prices up, and you will have missed it. So this is one we definitely think you should pick up. Go ahead and grab this one. And now for the honorable mentions. From Image Comics, Dust to Dust number 1. A tormented Oklahoma sheriff and a scrappy photojournalist hunt a serial killer at the height of the dust-choked Great Depression. Now this one here sounds like it lends itself easily to a small screen, big screen project. And you know, Image Comics has had a lot of the titles picked up an option in the past. Like we always remind you guys, these books don't actually have to make it to the screen. They just have to be optioned. That's enough to drive interest in the secondary market, get collectors picking up these books and holding on to them, so you don't want to miss out on these at the cover price. This one here, in our opinion, is a great spec bet. Like I said, it sounds like it can lend itself easily to the screen. So grab this here for a spec if you can. If you can't, though, put in your B-list, but keep an eye on this one. And finally, from Marvel Comics, Time Slide number 1. This is a look ahead at stories that will be published in 2025. There's going to be potential cameo appearances of characters in this issue that may be introduced throughout the year. Now this one here is one we definitely think you should pick up. You know, Marvel's been doing this recently, putting out these somewhat preview issues to give you an idea of the stories that are coming out the next year. And oftentimes they do introduce new characters into these preview issues. If there's a possibility of first cameo appearances in here or first full appearances, this is one you definitely want to pick up. You know, a lot of fans and collectors don't pick up these preview issues, so they're definitely under-collected when they hit the shelf. And like I said, if there are first cameos and first fulls, a lot of people are going to miss these. It's definitely going to drive the price up later on when people go back and looking for these first cameos and the first full appearance, and there's not many on the market. You definitely want to be one of the collectors that have these at the cover price. This is one we do think you should pick up for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. So there you have the 11 titles that we have for you guys this week. Big week, but there's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.